Well, it's my honor to welcome Dr. Rachel Mahmood, who is this year's 2024 Illinois Teacher of the Year. And Rachel, I just want to start off by offering you a huge congratulations. I mean, out of all of the many thousands of educators in Illinois, for you to be chosen and selected as the Teacher of the Year is a huge honor. So first of all, congratulations on that. A very well
Thank you.
deserved honor. So we're going to take just a few minutes to get to know you and talk about the World Cafe project that you've been very involved in. But let's start at the very beginning. What inspired you to get into education as a career path?
Well, we all have our stories of why we come into education. And really, my story starts when I was a young student. I grew up half Russian Jewish, half Indian Hindu. And so, just a very unique identity. And because of my unique identity, I never really felt a sense of belonging in school. And students don't feel connected in school, that it can lead them down some very alternative paths. And I say that I searched for belonging in all the wrong places, with the wrong people, and eventually found my way back to education and just kind of vowed to be that teacher that celebrates and affirms students' identity, who lifts kids up and really helps them to see the positive contributions every aspect of their identity has brought to America, has brought to our world, and just to help them feel really proud of who they were, something I didn't feel as a child. And that's why I'm in education.
Well, that's I can't think of a better reason to go into education. So let me ask you, where did you start? Where was your first teaching job, and then where did it lead from there to where you are now?
So I started my teaching career at Indian Prairie School District 204, 20 years ago. And I was volunteering in a group called the Parent Diversity Advisory Council, which my professor was a part of because she was a parent. And she said, "Hey, Rachel, you're interested in cultural diversity and education. Why don't you come to these meetings with me?" And so I started attending these meetings as a young college student and had the opportunity to interview there. I kind of joke I interviewed there for a year as I kept going to these meetings and meeting up with people in the district, but ended up getting a job at Brookdale Elementary School. And then after about 10 years, transferred to Georgetown Elementary School in Aurora.
Wow. Okay. So you've been in the same district for your whole career, in a good district at that. I will add,
Absolutely.
our own Luda district. So you've become Teacher of the Year. Now you have an opportunity to really take your voice that you were able to certainly have a lot of influence on, your own students, but now you can take your voice statewide. And I know you're doing that, particularly with the World Cafe project. So can you start off by explaining what it is?
Absolutely. So the World Cafe is a dialogue model that was developed in 2005 by Brown and Isaacs. They have a book on it. They also have a website, theworldcafe.com, where you can learn more information. And basically, it's a way to have small group dialogue within a large group setting. So there can be like 300 people in a room, but there'll be tables of maybe 5 to 10 people at each table. And there's rounds of conversation. So there's an overarching question. And my question that I'm focused on learning more about is, how do we increase belonging for students, staff, and parents and families in our school system? And then we break that big question down into 4 sub questions. With each sub question, your small group explores that question, sketchnoting your ideas, sharing your stories, your experiences. And then every 15 minutes, a timer goes off. Everyone stands up and they switch to a new table, all randomly across the room. Then they sit down again, and then you answer the next question. And you keep adding to your sketch notes, and you keep telling your stories. So after 4 rounds, there's this cross pollination of ideas because you've had touch points with a lot of people. but very intimate conversations. And so you start to see that patterns and insights emerge, and conversation kind of spreads exponentially across a room. But the most beautiful part is the questions start by centering your vision of a school of belonging, and they take you through the process of identifying the strengths, identifying the challenges and barriers, and then getting right down to what are the actionable things we need to do in our school district to increase a sense of belonging.
So does this all happen in one session, or is it a multiple series of sessions?
It all happens in one session. So if a school district calls me out and they're like, "Hey, we want to do this World Cafe," the first thing I would do is like ask them like, who are the stakeholders that you're interested in hearing the voices of? So is it a parent only World Cafe? Is it a staff only World Cafe? Is it a student only World Cafe? Is it a mix? Is it an administrator World Cafe? The idea is to center the voices of a group. And so it can be mixed all of those groups, or it can be individual ones for each of those groups. And I might start with like a little bit about my story growing up, being that diverse student in that classroom, how it affected me, my search for belonging, then becoming that diverse teacher and realizing that my search for belonging as a student became my search for belonging as a teacher, and kind of grounding some experiences and ideas of where I struggled, where my vision was. And that kind of helps to lend to the conversation. But then we jump right into the conversation for 1 hour, 4 rounds of 15 minutes. And then we have some reflection time where we're inputting our data into a Google Sheet. All of that data I share back out with school districts, so they can see what their stakeholders were responding and talking about in those conversations. And then we have some connection time where we kind of hang up everybody's anchor charts and we walk around and talk and connect and have like an informal patterns and insights opportunity. And of course, I always end with some kind of special recognition. Love to come out and honor your teachers that are doing a great job with increasing belonging for students, for staff, and for families. So I like to bring along some tokens and honor them as part of the closing for that event.
So approximately how long does the whole session last?
Usually I book with people between an hour and a half and 2 hours, because for a large portion of it, over 1 hour, it's micro dialogues going on simultaneously.
So when you've gotten done with some of these, what is some of the feedback you get?
So the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive from all the stakeholders. And we've done a variety with parents, with staff, and with students. And generally, the feedback is being invited into the space, getting the invitation to participate makes me feel like I belong, right? Sitting side by side at a table with different stakeholders, especially ones that have the power to make decisions, makes me feel a sense of belonging. Being able to share my stories, my experiences, my perspective, and offer actionable steps makes me feel belonging. Those steps are about belonging. So those ideas increase belonging. At the very end, what school districts choose to do with this data, showing your stakeholders that you're taking their voices, their stories as some of the most important data that you're collecting to drive your PD for that year, your PL learning experiences, your PLCs, the need to start certain parent groups or affinity spaces or inform your strategic plans, showing your stakeholders that you're following through with some of those action items also builds belonging. So the whole process from invitation to follow up is all working towards making the people in that space feel how important, how valued and they are, as well as that you're hearing them and that they have the wisdom to help create the school culture that they're describing in the World Cafe.
So if someone watching this is really interested in trying this out, how do they go about setting this up?
So it's super easy. There's a couple ways to get a hold of me. First, you can email me at my last name, Mahmood, Mahmood ilstoy24@gmail.com. You can also go to the ISB website and you can type in Teacher of the Year, and it will bring you right to a Google form as well to fill out to request a date to host one of these World Cafes. And I'm super excited. Spaces are definitely filling up. People that get a chance to book these to meet, and I always meet with each person when they fill out a request form and specifically guide them through the process of who to invite, how to get them there. I give you a full media package, flyers, everything that you need to host the World Cafe. You just bring the participants. They've been really excited and they have been definitely booking up, but I do still have a lot of dates open for the spring and for the winter. And so I would love to bring the World Cafe to your school district.
Well, thank you so much for spending some time talking to us about the World Cafe and some of the benefits that you've seen from the ones that you've done. So I appreciate that. But most importantly, I just again want to congratulate you, Rachel, on being named the Teacher of the Year. An incredible honor. And I know in so many ways you're representing now all of the teachers in Illinois. And we have so many phenomenal educators in this state. And it is great to see you representing all of them. So again, thank you for being with us. And we've been talking with Dr. Rachel Mahmood and really appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor.